Look at her, you skinny witch.
In the darkest hours of Saturday night in the kingdom of Odam, twin girls were born. Two beautiful little girls were born to Papa Nonso and Mama Chidinma. Their father, a wealthy gold trader who sold gold all over the country, named the newborns Oluchi and Oluoma. Over the years, it became clear that the twins had great physical differences, although they were served the same meals at the same time. Oluchi was surprisingly thin, tall and lanky, while Oluoma was rounder and shorter. Oluchi was often the target of mockery by the other children in the village. As soon as they saw her, they would start laughing and calling her the skinny girl. They refused to play with her, thinking she wouldn't be able to keep up with their games, but Oluma, her twin sister, was always there to defend her. "If you call my sister all those nasty names again, you will have to deal with me," Oloma would shout to anyone who made fun of Oluchi. She wasn't afraid of anyone when it came to protecting her sister. Oluchi knew she could always count on Oluoma to stand up for her. Years passed, but the situation did not improve for Oluchi. Oluoma and Oluchi did everything together. They played, studied, and even sang side by side. They were inseparable. However, while Oluoma was gaining weight and seemed healthy, Oluchi remained very thin. The people in the village gossiped about Oluchi, saying she was not good enough because she was too thin. How will she be able to get married if she stays like this? She will never be able to take care of a home or a family, the villagers whispered when Oluchi passed by. They ignored the pain their words caused her. Every time Oluchi heard these things, she became sad and sometimes preferred to be alone in silence, full of shame. But as hard as the situation was, Oluoma was always there to comfort her. "Don't listen to them," Oluoma told Oluchi, hugging her. "You are beautiful just the way you are. Those who don't understand you don't matter. You are special, and one day people will see how wonderful you are." But the mockery didn't only come from the children. The adults in the village, especially the older women, also pointed at her, whispering, "Look how thin she is. She'll never become strong enough to do the family chores." It was hard for Oluchi to ignore these comments, especially when they came from people who were supposed to be kind and wise. Despite this, Oluoma didn't let anyone insult her sister. If someone made fun of Oluchi, Oluoma didn't hesitate to threaten them. "Stop immediately, or you'll regret it." The villagers knew better than to make Oluoma angry because she was fierce when it came to protecting Oluchi. One day, something happened that made Oluchi even sadder. A big dance party was to take place in the village. All the young people were going to meet there to dance, sing, and have fun. Oluchi and Oluoma were excited because they loved to dance. They had practiced for a long time and had always dreamed of going to this big party. However, at the entrance to the party, the leader of the group of young women, a girl named Betty, looked at Oluchi and declared, "You can't come in. We don't want a skinny girl like you who would spoil the fun." Oluchi's heart sank. Her face turned red with shame, and she felt tears coming to her eyes. She turned around immediately and ran home with a heavy heart. Oluoma was furious. She wanted to yell at Betty and tell her how wrong she was, but she didn't want to make a scene. Instead, she ran after Oluchi, heartbroken for her sister. She found Oluchi sitting by the window crying. "Don't let their words hurt you," said Oluoma softly as she sat down next to her. "You are beautiful just the way you are. You are special, and no one has the right to make you feel less. They don't understand you, and probably never will." Oluchi wiped away her tears and gave a small smile. She was grateful to have a sister like Oluoma. "But why do they say all these things about me? Why can't they see who I really am?" she asked with a sad heart. "People are afraid of what they don't understand," answered Oluoma. "But we know the truth. You are wonderful as you are, and one day they will realize it." Despite these comforting words, Oluchi couldn't help but feel sad at times. The mockery of the villagers did not stop, and nothing seemed to be able to change their minds. Oluchi's parents and Oluoma tried everything to help Oluchi gain weight. They talked to doctors who suggested special foods, and then went to herbalists who promised to make Oluchi stronger, but nothing worked. No matter what she ate, Oluchi remained as thin as before. The villagers continued to mock her, saying that she would never be useful to her family. They laughed and insulted her when she passed by, but Oluoma tirelessly defended her sister, always ready to fight for Oluchi. The only thing that really comforted Oluchi was her talent in the kitchen. She cooked so well that her family often cleaned their plates completely, praising her for her delicious dishes. At home, she felt safe, but as soon as she went out, she found herself facing the cruel villagers who tormented her because of her thinness, especially when she went to the market. People compared the twins, whispered, and mocked them. One afternoon, while the twins were at the market to buy ingredients, a fish seller started to mock Oluoma. "Why did you take all of Oluchi's blood?" she said, laughing loudly. Everyone around joined in the mockery, and someone added, "Watch out for the strong wind tomorrow, Oluchi. Don't get blown away." Oluchi was so hurt that she remained silent. "You should be ashamed," replied Oluoma angrily. "Most of you have children, and if you don't, it's maybe because you're too mean to have any. But I'm sure you at least have brothers and sisters, so stop acting like fools." Oluchi was relieved to see her sister defend her. Oluoma always protected her against these mean people, until the day when everything changed. Oluoma's boyfriend, Chinedu, son of a famous cocoa farmer, had been in a relationship with Oluoma for 2 years. But he brought serious news. He would not marry her because his family did not approve of their relationship. "Why?" asked Oluoma, crying. "Am I not good enough for you?" "You are perfect," replied Chinedu, "but my parents are afraid that your sister's skinny genes will show up in our children." Oluoma couldn't believe her ears. Her world collapsed. She began to resent her twin, blaming Oluchi for being the cause of her sorrow. At the same time, she was excluded from social circles because they didn't like the way she defended her thin sister. Oluoma blamed Oluchi for all her misfortunes and decided to make her life miserable. Oluoma sat on the edge of her bed, staring blankly at the wall. For 6 days she hadn't spoken to anyone. The silence in her room was deafening. She didn't even have the strength to message her ex-boyfriend, which she used to do every day before everything went wrong. Now she only felt an immense emptiness inside her. How did she get to this point? On her side, Oluchi couldn't hold back her tears every night. When the house fell silent and everyone was asleep, she would lock herself in her room to cry. She couldn't help but think about her sister's ex-boyfriend and the plans they had made together. They had planned everything: the wedding, a big house, and 4 children. They had even chosen their names: Mary, then David, followed by Grace and little Joshua. Their life should have been beautiful and filled with love. Now everything was gone. They couldn't believe it. Oluoma's dreams had shattered like a glass vase, fallen to the ground in 1,000 pieces, and all because of her sister. For Oluoma, it was Oluchi who had ruined everything. Every day, Oluoma's anger grew. She felt a burning hatred for her sister. Oluchi didn't understand why Oluoma was so distant and cold. She tried to talk to her, but each time Oluoma reacted angrily and walked away. Oluchi saw the pain in her sister's eyes, but it seemed that Oluoma refused to open up to her. Oluchi didn't know what she had done wrong. She missed their conversations, their close moments, and those nights when they stayed up late to talk about their hopes and dreams. Now Oluoma didn't want to hear anything. Day after day, Oluchi watched as Oluoma left early in the morning and came home late at night without ever saying where she had gone. It might not have mattered, but Oluoma was clearly avoiding her. Oluchi felt lonely. When she saw Oluoma laughing and chatting happily with her new friend Nancy, she felt pain in her heart. Oluoma spent hours locked in her room with Nancy, chatting, making plans, and Oluchi found herself left out, unable to join in. Oluoma simply didn't want her around anymore, and it hurt her terribly. Oluchi's life outside the house wasn't any easier. She had lost the confidence she once had to walk around the village. People were starting to whisper behind her back, pointing and judging her. No one was there to defend her, no one to tell the villagers to be quiet. Oluchi had always been a strong and independent young girl, but today, without support, she felt weak and helpless. At home, the situation was hardly any better. Oluchi spent most of her time locked in her room, afraid to go outside. She didn't want to face the stares of the villagers, who now looked at her with scorn or pity. She thought back with sadness to the time when Oluoma protected her and stood by her. They were a united team. Now, even at home, Oluchi walked carefully around her sister. She missed her sister so much. It was as if her whole world had been turned upside down. The worst thing was that she didn't know what could have caused this change. What had she done to deserve such rejection? She spent entire days writing letters to Oluoma, hoping that at least one of them would be read. But each time she left a letter on Oluoma's table, she found it later crumpled and thrown in the trash. Oluoma didn't even bother to read them or give her the chance to explain. One day, after yet another attempt to convince Oluoma to talk to her, Oluchi sat down at her desk facing a blank page. She had already written so many letters, all filled with regret, without result. While she was thinking about the next one, she heard bursts of laughter coming from Oluoma's room. It had been days since she had heard that sound, and that broke her heart. She got up and silently approached the door to look through the opening. She saw Oluoma and Nancy sitting on the floor, laughing and chatting. Oluchi felt a lump forming in her throat. She couldn't even remember the last time she had laughed with her sister. With tears in her eyes, Oluchi went back to her room, her heart heavy with sadness. She missed her sister more than she could express. But what could she do? Oluoma had made it clear that she no longer wanted her love. Oluchi had tried everything, talking, letters, her silent presence, without success. She felt like she had lost her sister forever. Meanwhile, the bond between Oluoma and Nancy was getting stronger. She would spend hours talking, imagining a future, and Oluoma felt that she had finally found someone who understood her. Nancy didn't judge her and didn't ask her to explain herself. For the first time in a long time, Oluoma felt that she could count on someone. However, this friendship wasn't enough to make the pain of the breakup with her ex-boyfriend go away, nor the anger linked to her strained relationship with Oluchi. The life plans that she had built with her ex still haunted her, and every time she crossed paths with Oluchi, she felt a strong sense of anger and hate. Oluchi, despite everything, continued to look for a way to get closer to Oluoma. She missed the old Oluoma, so protective. Even if she did not understand why everything had changed, she refused to give up on her sister. One day, Oluchi prepared a delicious meal for the family as she was used to doing, but Oluoma entered the kitchen and threw sand in the pot. "Why did you do that?" yelled Oluchi, shocked. "Shut up, skinny witch," replied Oluoma. The following week, Oluchi filled a bathtub and left it in the bathroom while she went to change before taking her bath. Oluoma took advantage of her absence to pour a product into the water. Without knowing it, Oluchi used it and began to frantically scratch her whole body. Her parents had to apply palm oil to calm the irritation. During all this time, Oluoma laughed out loud, and Oluchi quickly understood who was responsible. Now, instead of defending Oluchi in public, Oluoma humiliated her in front of everyone, at the market by calling her a walking skeleton. Oluchi spent her days crying. Their parents scolded Oluoma and ordered her to stop. "She's your twin sister," exclaimed their mother. "I didn't raise you to treat her like that." But Oluoma remained indifferent. "Oluchi destroyed my life. The love of my life left me because of this stick," Oluoma said coldly. Their mother screamed in shock. She slapped Oluoma violently. Despite all the mockery Oluchi suffered daily from the villagers and now from her own twin sister, an unexpected event soon shook the kingdom. Every 10 years, the kingdom of Odam and the neighboring kingdoms organized a competition called the Maiden Queen competition. Each kingdom had to present 3 of its most talented and beautiful young girls. The kingdom of Odam was on edge this time, since the last competition had taken place in Odam. In the kingdom of Odam, names of potential candidates began to be proposed. Some mentioned Oluchi's name in a mocking tone. Who would have the idea of sending a skeleton to represent humans? They joked. One afternoon, while Oluchi was going to get water from the village river, she met a man named Uchenna, one of the organizers of the competition who came from abroad. Oluchi, without knowing who he was, approached him. As soon as Uchenna saw her, he was amazed. "What a beauty!" he exclaimed. "You have a figure that many would dream of." Oluchi thought at first that he was making fun of her, but he seemed sincerely delighted. He explained to her that he was in her village to collect the names of the 3 young girls who would represent Odam village for the competition. "I am sure that your name will be on the list," he said. "You look perfectly suited." Oluchi, not believing him, replied that it was impossible because everyone hated her in the village and that they would never want her for such an event. She also told him that he was the first person to compliment her on her looks, while all the others called her a skeleton or even worse. Shocked, Ushena then encouraged her to dress nicely and to at least come to watch the competition, even if she did not participate. After thinking about it, Oluchi promised to go there. The day of the competition arrived. The people of Odam and the other villages went to the palace. Oluchi and Oluoma were also there, accompanied by their parents, all looking beautiful. After presenting the 3 candidates from each kingdom, the organizers announced that there would be an additional competitor sponsored by the High King himself. Indeed, one of the powers of the High Kingdom was to add an extra candidate to the list. Everyone wondered who would have this chance. The organizers then called Oluchi's name. Astonished, she remained frozen in place. Her village neighbors were stunned, and many felt jealous. Oluoma was seething with anger. "What's the point of putting a stick in this competition?" she muttered. However, no one had the power to challenge the king's decision. Oluchi's parents applauded with joy and encouraged her. Despite her surprise, she drew from their support the strength to stand tall and graceful alongside the 9 other candidates. The competition began with a cooking challenge. Each candidate had to prepare a traditional dish using their talent. Oluchi finished quickly, as if carried by her natural cooking skill. After tasting, the judges announced the 5 best candidates, including Oluchi, who qualified for the next stage. During the second test, the 5 young girls had to find a treasure hidden in a forest. The first to bring it back would be crowned queen of the 3 kingdoms. But there was an extra difficulty. Before reaching the forest, they had to swim across a river. Many candidates were not good swimmers, but Oluchi, being lighter, managed to cross quickly and reach the forest first to start the search. About 15 minutes later, another candidate named Jenny came out of the water and also began to look for the treasure. Suddenly, Oluchi saw a blue and shiny object in a bush. "That must be it," she cried, forgetting for a moment that she was not alone in the competition. Hearing Oluchi's voice, Jenny rushed in the same direction. The 2 girls ran, but Oluchi's dress caught on a branch, making her fall. Jenny arrived first at the sparkling object on the ground. Oluchi noticed that there were other blue objects exactly the same scattered everywhere. She understood that Jenny was wasting her time. Not wanting to make the same mistake again, Oluchi kept this secret to herself. Jenny, convinced she had found the treasure, turned back and persuaded the other 3 girls that she had won. Disappointed, they gave up and also returned to the kingdom. Oluchi continued her search. When she felt drops of water fall on her, she looked up and saw a golden box perched in a tree. It sparkled so brightly that Oluchi immediately understood it was the real treasure. Thanks to her slim build, she climbed the tree with ease, took down the box and opened it. Inside, she found several of these blue trinkets, confirming that what she held was indeed the authentic treasure. She closed the box and continued on her way to the palace. The young lady arrived at the palace, holding the box in her hand, and all eyes turned to Oluchi. She was exhausted, but she was determined. The organizers showed a drawing representing the real treasure they were looking for, which matched perfectly with the one she had found. She was then declared the winner and crowned young lady queen of the 3 kingdoms. As a reward, she received many gifts of gold, magnificent clothes, and even a house in her name. The people of her village were stunned and had to admit that they had been wrong about her. Many came to apologize to her, sometimes not very sincerely, for the way they had treated her. Her parents were overjoyed. While ashamed, Oluoma didn't know what to do. Back in the village, Oluoma decided to pack her bags and leave, overwhelmed by shame. "Why do you want to leave your family?" asked Oluchi. Oluoma, in tears, replied, "I regret what I did to you. You are my twin, and yet I treated you as if you were worthless. I gave more importance to what others thought than to my own sister. Let me go. I am so ashamed." "We came into the world on the same day from our mother's womb," replied Oluchi in a soft voice. "I love you no matter what happens, and I forgive you." They hugged each other. From that day on, the twin sisters lived happily for the rest of their days. If you liked this story, leave us a comment to encourage us. We will see you in the next story.